This is TWiT.
UK has ordered Apple to give it access to encrypted cloud data. This is from the Financial Times. The British government has ordered Apple to grant it secret access. That's the interesting part. How do we know this? I think there was a leaker. To its customers' encrypted cloud storage. This is from the Snoopers Charter, which was a bill passed the UK Investigatory Powers Act. Last month, Apple received a, quote, technical capability notice requiring them to create a backdoor to iCloud. Now, this was not, the government has not said this. Apple has not said this. They're not allowed to. It's one of those. According to people familiar with the matter, the move would enable UK, well, you know, I started saying UK, but it isn't just UK. The move would enable global law enforcement and security services. Everybody would be affected. It's extraterritorial, which means UK law enforcement could access the encrypted data of Apple customers anywhere in the world, including in the United States. You know what? This has been going on for years. The FBI has been asking Apple to do it. Apple said no. FBI hasn't forced them to do it. Australia's tried this, but this is the first time a nation state has actually, as far as I know, told Apple explicitly, we need a back door.
I feel like it had happened before a number of years ago, and I thought that it was kind of put to rest back then. So I was surprised to see this news where it just kind of came to the fore of like, oh yeah, we're revisiting this issue and ignoring every reason anyone ever told us for why it was a terrible idea.
So
wasn't there a big deal about this with the San Bernardino shooter?
Yeah, and Apple said no to the FBI. Yeah. Go ahead, Daniel.
I was going to say, I think they used to have like kind of like holes in their operating system where third-party software was able to access this stuff. And then Apple patched all that and like,
yeah, well, so
Apple
has in the past been able to do this. In fact, they told the FBI in the case of the San Bernardino terrorists that, oh, if you had just taken his phone home, it would have uploaded the contents to iCloud and we could have given it to you. So as recently as whenever that was, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, Apple would and did do that. They've done it in other situations as well. Trump's campaign chief was using WhatsApp, which was encrypted to message. This is in the 2016 election. But WhatsApp uploaded unencrypted text to the Apple iCloud, and the government got it. We know that happened because if you read the indictment, they quoted his WhatsApp messages from iCloud. But Apple patched, they patched that hole. They fully encrypted. As far as we know, they fully encrypted everything. In order for iCloud to work, they have to have a key because, for a variety of reasons. If you have fully encrypted cloud storage, there's a lot of abilities that go away, which is why most cloud storage companies, including, I think, Microsoft, offer, correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, kind of an enclave, an encrypted enclave, and then the rest of it, well, we have the keys to it. Isn't that right?
Yeah, they're called like vaults. Yeah.
Vaults.
Yeah, they're secure. Yeah.
Apple does not offer that. Apple just says we have the keys, but we're not going to give them to anyone. This is a huge issue, as we know, from backdoors in the past. In fact, it's not been so long ago that it was revealed that Salt Typhoon Chinese hackers had access to the phones of many officials in government, high officials in government, because going way back to the 90s, the government mandated that there would be wiretap capability in digital technologies. At the time, the FBI director said, no, but don't worry because this backdoor will never leak out. Well, it did. And as a result, we've got Chinese hackers in our phone network and can't do much about it, incidentally. So this is always a bad idea. I think every real security guru says there's no way backdoors stay secret.
Pour one out for all the security gurus this week. They're having a bad week.
It's a bad week for security in general, yeah. Go ahead, Daniel.
So I was going to say that what's also scary about this is the fact that, and you mentioned this earlier, that, if they do this, then they can access data from Americans indirectly,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And this is what the NSA has always done. NSA can't spy, and with the Patriot Act, can't spy directly on Americans. But if they're spying on someone else in another country who happens to have access to Americans, that data gets collected as well. And so it's an indirect way. So I wouldn't even be surprised if the US government is like shrugging their shoulders, like, we're not saying you guys shouldn't do this, because it would probably help them as well.
They want it.
They're part of the whole Five Eyes,
A consultant advising the United States on encryption matters, according to the Washington Post, who broke this story, said Apple would be barred from warning its users if this happens. Apple, had rolled out, and this is what started this, a couple of years ago, advanced data protection. A switch you could turn on. Most people don't, because it eliminates some of, as I said, some of the features of iCloud and other things. But they offered it, and they specifically encouraged government officials to use it because they didn't even have the keys to this. This was fully encrypted. It had tried to do this a couple of years earlier, backed off after, according to the Post, after objections from the FBI. This was back in the first term of President Trump. The service is an available security option for Apple users in the U.S. and elsewhere. I'm not sure if it's available in the U.K. Probably what will happen is Apple will make it no longer available in the U.K., but that doesn't solve the problem in the U.S. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, a Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, said the U.S. has to dissuade Britain. Trump and American tech companies letting foreign governments secretly spy on Americans would be unconscionable, an unmitigated disaster for America. I know why you're laughing.
Sorry.
I know why you're laughing. And I bet Ron Wyden knew what he was saying. Unmitigated disaster for Americans' privacy and our national security. Signal President Meredith Whittaker said using technical capability notices to weaken encryption around the globe is a shocking move that will position the UK as a tech pariah rather than a tech leader. If implemented, the directive will create a dangerous cybersecurity vulnerability in the nervous system of our global economy. And you know why Meredith Whittaker is commenting on this, because next it's Signal. Because Signal, there's no backdoor in Signal. The UK's obviously.
I like Meredith. Yeah,
she's fantastic.
She writes a lot of great stuff on this topic. Yeah.
This, given all the news coming out of DC, this will probably not get the coverage it should. But if you're watching our shows, you understand why this is such a big deal.
Well, I think it's up for Apple to somehow figure out how to resist on its own. We don't have a foreign policy at the moment. We barely have a domestic policy at the moment. So there's the conventional wisdom about how we would approach this is not available to us. This is not something where you get together, you speak to your government, and you sort of point out like, okay, I know you're tempted, but here's the consequences of if this happens. This is not a government that is equipped to consider the consequences of decisions that it makes. And at this point, given how much power is embodied in any particular administration and getting exercised in any particular way, it's probably all for incursions for privacy, schmivacy. It seems to be the administration's position in an awful lot of technology areas these days.
Android is also at this point end-to-end encrypted in its backups. It does not offer, it does not have the keys. So remember that this came out because of a leak. It's very likely that the same order went to Google and went to Signal and went to Meta for WhatsApp. Because, why would they just target Apple? Google's been encrypting backups for Android phones since 2018. Google declined, this is interesting, Google declined to say whether any government had sought a backdoor.
Google has turned into such a weird company, right? They were like the good guys for so long. And then of course they had that, we don't do evil thing, and they got rid of that. And then there was
They actually deleted
And now this
that.
week they're like, we think it's fine to use AI to make super smart weapons.
Yeah.
That's
Now
like,
they're doing
okay, that's a
that.
line of revenue.
They got rid of DEI. Like they're just going full blown. Like
No, it's
screw
like
it. I mean,
The Boys season 5 is what's just unfolding.
yes.
We don't do evil. Well, maybe a little evil. Now we're all about the evil.
Define evil.
Hey, thank you for watching this little snippet from our big show, the News Roundtable, This Week in Tech. I'm Leo Laporte. Each week we cover the week's tech news, in-depth analysis, but it's also fun and engaging. You'll find it at twit.tv along with all of our shows. And if you want more, just hit the subscribe button, and we'll be sure to bring you a lot more great content. Thanks for listening.